Hello and welcome back to another episode of CharlaFootball. I'm your host, as always, Gerardo Jerry Tavares, accompanied by Tomas. We're in a little switch of scenery. Tomas's office is getting redone at his house. He's gonna get a nice little AC unit in the room so it could be nice and fresh when he's recording. I'm currently at the Euros. Well, right now I'm in Amsterdam, but I was at the Euros over the weekend. I was able to watch the Turkey Portugal game on Saturday. Saw Netherlands France on Friday, and then Spain Italy on Thursday. So there's been a lot of traveling between Germany and now I'm back in Amsterdam, just kind of relaxing, gonna go check out some bars, whatnot. But first things first, we have to talk about the Euros. We have to talk about Copa America because it just started and we have not covered it just yet. So we're gonna talk about all that. We're gonna talk about Mexico specifically as well because there's a lot of things that happen there. But first and foremost, Tomas, how are you doing today? I know it's kind of
Y-
early over there. It's a little bit of a time switch.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty early, but not too early. I mean, I'm doing fine, bro. Just for those who don't know, we're going through a heat wave right now, and
Oh,
it's not like Europe. This is a real heat wave. It's not like a 70, 80 degree heat wave. No, this is a 90, 92,
hey,
100.
I'm just gonna stay here, honestly. It's hot over here, but it's not 90s hot. It's in the 70s, but it feels good.
That's not even hot, bro. I'd kill for 70s right now. I mean, it's so hot. I was walking to my car, and by the time I got into my car, I was already sweating. It's like that's like 12 to 13 steps.
I hate California heat because if you guys know, California heat, especially right now due to climate change and all that, it's disgusting. Like you feel
It's
gross just walking anywhere. You're sweating. You feel
it's
oily.
sticky.
Yeah, it's not a nice feeling. But what is a nice feeling is all the football that's going on right now. Like I said, Euros, Copa America, but today's episode is going to be mainly focused on Copa America because, like I said, we have to touch on that and Mexico specifically. So let's get right into Mexico. They played against Jamaica just a few days ago. I believe it was the day before yesterday. And we're going to talk about some of the controversial, not decisions, but the controversies of that match, like the state of the pitch. And then we're going to talk about all the other complaints that have been talked about throughout Copa America. I mean, to, to think about it, it's really only been a few days since it started. It started on Thursday, and we've already had multiple teams complain about the state of the pitch. And we're kind of worried about how that's going to affect the World Cup moving forward. So the USSF better get their shit together because if all these national teams are complaining, they got to figure that shit out. But first, let's get into the game. Mexico, Jamaica, 1-0. Tomas, what are your feelings on the game?
Um, it was a really fortunate one though.
Mhm.
Being because we lost Edson Alvarez, it took us a time to adjust to that. I mean, there was like you go from a player that's defensively solid, Edson Alvarez that plays nice forward passing to a center defensive mid like Romo that just abandons his position and plays wall passes all around the field, which is okay. It's fine if we were playing like teams like Jamaica, teams like Panama, but imagine trying to play wall passes against Argentina and we just get countered. And this 6'2", 180 center defensive mid is caught up field and he's not even able to make it back.
Mhm.
We're getting chewed up. We're getting chewed up like how Uruguay chewed us up if that happens. Now it's other than that, Arteaga strike. Mexico was really they were dominating the game in terms of having the ball and trying to get forward, but there's no clear pass forwards to Santi Jimenez. There's no clear pass forwards to Julian Quinones. Everything was either created in between them, in between those two players, or just by themselves. I mean, Quinones opens up crazy by himself, and he gets a shot off, which was deflected by one of the Jamaican defenders. And then Santi Jimenez twists a Jamaican defender and tries to hit a near post, and it's blocked by the goalie. Those
Mhm.
are the only two players I could really remember right now. But it's just so poor coming from the wingers and the midfield and the wing backs on creating forward. Except for Arteaga, he's probably the only wing back that can create something going forward because yes, he does lose the ball going forward, but he's the only one that tries it.
Mhm.
So he'll lose the ball once and then try it again, and he'll actually get it done. Which I don't like my wing backs losing the ball, but it shows that he's confident enough to at least try it. I mean, Jorge Sanchez is a really safe wing back. He plays the ball almost always short. He's not trying those long crosses as much as he used to when he was when he was first signed to Ajax or first signed to first signed to Ajax, he was more daring of a player, maybe more confident. I know
Mhm.
he's been going through a rough phase because of the critics that have been constantly patronizing him. But the thing is, Arteaga's in a better moment, but we have no creation going forward. Our midfielders are lacking. Now we got our best center defensive mid out. It feels like we lost the war already. It
Uh,
just feels like that.
that's something definitely that we're gonna touch on the switch of formation because we've been playing the same style, where it's just very pragmatic, boring. We're barely scraping games, and if you're considered one of the best teams on CONCACAF, you should be not destroying, but just putting better performances. And while you did get the result, you did win. You don't want to just be winning versus what is supposedly one of the worst teams in the group in Jamaica. But I mean, we'll also talk on Jamaica as well. It's not like they have a bad squad in general. I mean, something that we highlight is that they have more players in Europe, but we'll touch on that later. But first, let's look at the Edson Alvarez injury. So it's a hamstring injury. It was just confirmed like what a few minutes ago. You said.
He was ruled out a few minutes ago. I think it was confirmed the day after. It was a
Mhm.
hamstring injury, and I'm pretty sure it's a grade 3 because I've torn my hamstring. I mean, you were there, and I was able to walk off, and it was a grade 2. It hurt like so bad. I mean, I couldn't even sit on the toilet, right? But yeah, that's how it hurts because I mean, even when you sit down, you can't really sit down. You have to like do this little awkward like pull down where you have your arms down first,
Mhm.
whatever. And I mean, seeing him the way he reacted to it, it just looks like a grade 3. And because because he's a strong physical player, obviously he plays in the prem. Um, that has to be bad, bro. Like it has to be bad. I'm sorry, but there's no way
Especially
that a player that's so strong and so like fit goes down like because of
25 minutes into the game.
yeah, he will not go down because it doesn't hurt. You get me? He like that hurt like so bad, and it has to be severe. I'm sorry.
Yeah, especially because you saw it in his face. He was like absolutely destroyed. Like all in his face, you can tell because it's so early into the game. You're the captain of such an important team like Mexico, and you're in playing an important tournament, one of the most prestigious tournaments in the world, pretty much. And first 25 minutes, hamstrings gone like that. So you really got to feel for it, and you saw in his face, like I said, like he was just devastated, crying, very emotional because he knew what it meant. And I'm
Yeah,
sure, like you said, it was hurting a lot. So yeah, it was very unfortunate to see that happen, and it's not the first time. That's what I wanted to really bring up. That it's not the first time it's happened. We're only a few days into the tournament, bro, and to see already 4 injuries, muscular injuries due to the field conditions. I mean, we had Advíncula for Peru, who was out for with an Achilles injury. Diego Valdez for Chile, who was also out with a calf injury. Igor Lichnowsky again for Chile as well with a calf injury, and now Edson Alvarez in a hamstring injury. That's 4 injuries in 4 days, pretty much.
yeah.
One day, like that's horrible. And a lot of people are like saying that it's just speculation, that it has really nothing to do between like the turf and the field. But I don't know, you don't see these kind of injuries happen all the time, especially if it's so frequent. Or it
I
just
mean,
shouldn't be happening all the time.
all of them in match day 1, if you think about it, and all of these teams have complained about the field
Hmm.
because
Argentina,
all
Peru.
Peru, Chile,
Hmm.
and the thing is with these fields, so they're turf fields under, they put the grass field on top, but there was a physiotherapist stating that the shock of you stepping on the field is the same as if it's more dense than a turf field than a regular turf field because it's turf and grass over it. So obviously there's the little density that grass has, and then the density that turf holds. So it's like when you jump on it, it's kind of like jumping, or when you jump and land flat footed, which most athletes are trying to jump and land on their toes. So
Hmm.
when you jump and land flat footed, it's like jumping when you jump off a wall into cement and you feel that little shock in your ankle and going upwards.
Hmm.
It's pretty much similar to that. So that's what this physiotherapist was saying, that little it kind of like shocks your muscles, and obviously a shocked muscle is prone to strain itself. So I mean that's why we were seeing a lot of these injuries, and it's just sad.
It is sad. And how do you feel that's going to impact Mexico's performances moving forward. I mean, we saw that overall they had a mediocre performance that game against Jamaica, but you still have better teams like Venezuela and Ecuador. And then who knows if you make it out of the group, then you're gonna have to face either Argentina, Peru, or Chile. So or Canada depends on how that goes. But how does that impact the overall state of the team? I mean, your captain's out for the rest of the tournament. Like, do you feel like you need to go out there and win it all for him, or do you feel like the morale goes down because your best player is basically out all tournament?
I mean, my thing is this: we're not gonna. I don't think we're gonna be Venezuela and Ecuador playing like this
Mhm.
because if Luis Romo's playing wild passes and we get countered by Ecuador, they're scoring.
To be fair, though,
But
Luis Romo didn't have a bad game. I saw that he had
no,
one
no,
of the
he
best.
didn't. He didn't have a bad game, but the thing is, he played Jamaica. You know, Jamaica allows you to have the ball. Teams like Ecuador, Colombia, and Venezuela, they try to win those scrappy balls in the midfield so they could counter you, so they could punish you. Jamaica kind of lets you loosely get the ball up until they're half of the field, and that gives Luis Romo the space to play wall passes and go move around. But the thing is, you're a center defensive mid. That's not your role. Like the role for the player to move around is like maybe a cam or maybe just a regular mid.
Mhm.
So we can't have that versus Ecuador. I mean, Jimmy has to completely change the formation, which I would go with the 4-4-2 because Antuna is used to a 4-5-1. I mean a 5-4-1 either way from Cruz Azul, where he plays on the far right wing, and we saw how he was able to actually flourish in that formation. So you go into a 4-4-2 where you have four midfielders and Antuna's wide. I mean, that would definitely benefit him. And we already play with
Essentially,
like,
two strikers.
potentially two strikers. I mean, Julian Quinones and Santi Jimenez could get that done. Like
Mhm.
they always try to look for each other even when they're playing because those are the only two players that kind of can create forward. And I mean, when Santi Jimenez is playing center forward and Julian Quinones is playing left wing, they don't have that moment to create. But when Julian Quinones plays a little inverted, I mean, we saw Santi Jimenez was bringing balls down for him. He was creating plays. Santi Jimenez was creating plays, and it was really like 5 to 10 minutes of that. But it shows you the potential that there is where these two can play together.
Mhm.
And I mean, he's not really doing anything as a lone right winger, so we could drop him to the midfield, put him like a right winger slash right winger forward, right
Who?
midfielder, sorry,
Um,
slash right winger forward, or
Or,
for nah,
okay, yeah.
because he plays that already at Cruz Azul. And I mean, it's just we're not
Yeah,
gonna win like this. We have to be better defensively if we're gonna play these teams.
I definitely agree that there has to be a switch in formation because everybody sees the way that we play. It's not an attractive style, and I mean, people are losing patience, especially with the likes of Santi Jimenez. He hasn't scored since that goal against Panama, which was what last year already. So
So this will cut out.
sorry guys, a little bit of a technical difficulty. As you guys know, I'm in a hotel right now, so it's not the best Wi-Fi. I thought it would be a little better, but anyways, like I was saying, Santi Jimenez is running out of time. A lot of people are getting frustrated, but I don't think it's his fault, and I don't think it's the players' fault either. I just think they need a different approach to these games because they can't constantly be playing the same role, the same formation when it's clearly not working. It's just enough to get through, but I don't think it's enough for them to flourish like we've seen them do for club and for club basically. So I agree that maybe it'd be nice to see a double partnership between Julian Quinones and Santi Jimenez up top. Give Antuna a little bit more space to run on the right wing. Maybe put another player at left wing. I mean, who else can play left wing right now?
I mean, we have if you want to
What?
play an inverted left winger, we put Orbelin Pineda, or you could put Orbelin Pineda at the 10
Mm,
and have Luis Romo as the sole holding mid, and you give a there has to be a good left winger somewhere. If not, I mean, I'm pretty sure
no,
Alvarado could play left wing.
what right there? Why not? But anyways, yeah, there just needs to be a completely different formation or something because moving deeper into the tournament, where it's only going to get more difficult because this was probably the easier game. And
Yeah.
Venezuela's not going to be easy. Ecuador is not going to be easy, and then any team after, it's only going to get more difficult. So I don't see us going very far if we continue to play the way that we are right now, especially with no Edson Alvarez. We're not going to have the same solidarity in that middle of the park where it's very much crucial, one of the most important positions in football. That sixth role. So We'll see what happens. Now let's get a quick update on this Jamaican national team. Overall, I think they played well. They played to their strengths, and they are missing a key player. I don't think they're missing all of their key players anymore. They do have Mikael Antonio back, Demar Gray's on the left wing, but a player that they could really use is Leon Bailey. Leon Bailey, who's one of the best players in the Premier League right now, secured Champions League football with Aston Villa, but he has complained to the Jamaican Federation in the media because of the poor like infrastructure, the poor development of the federation, but the federation has explained that there's just not enough money. And I don't think Leon Bailey is used to that because he's been in the Prem for so long. And he doesn't want to go back, but they really seem like they could use him. But it's not like they played bad against Mexico. They played to their strengths with what they had. But I don't know. What did you think about the Jamaica team before we move on?
This Jamaican team was actually kind of they showed me why they were able to knock out Canada and go into the Copa America. Well, they didn't show me. They kind of reminded me how good they are. Sorry, they're just a really solid team, and I mean defensively they're pretty well. Well, Mexico I think made them look a little too good, but they're pretty good defensively. On the counter, they could always hit you. I mean, they're gonna be a nightmare for teams like Venezuela and Ecuador because those counters are insane. How fast they're able to transition.
Mhm.
We're lucky that we have Johan Vasquez and Cesar Montes who have like European experience, so they were able to kind of cancel them out. And then obviously Arteaga's is although he's not the most technical player, he's really what I like about him is that he's really how would I say this like aguerrido, like he's constantly there, like fighting for the ball, constantly there, like picking, yeah, and that really drove the Jamaican right winger like to not even try to pick a fight with him anymore. He would just kind of play towards the middle or look for a cross, which is actually how that offside goal happened. You know, Arteaga's kind of going towards him. He's like he opens up and just crosses it, and I mean they're pretty solid. It was a good goal. Yes, granted he was offside, but that whole play was a pretty well. It was a pretty good
Well developed
how would I
play.
say this? Not a well developed play, but it was a pretty good counter. That's how I
Mm,
would put it. A pretty good counter where it kind of goes wide and they're just like, you know what, we still have at least one or two people in the box and we just cross in. It's a goal.
mm.
Because I mean that center forward is huge, bro. He's huge. Also kind of like a miscommunication by the center backs, but obviously since he's out offside, you can't really see him. But overall, this team is solid, and I actually expect them to maybe even be able to compete and get out of this group because of what they showed me today.
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
Venezuela didn't really impress me too much. They kind of look like the Venezuela that played in 2016. Granted, they were able to win a game versus Ecuador this time, but I mean, Ecuador going down 1-0 to Venezuela. I mean, 2-1 to Venezuela really it seemed to kill them, and it looks like it maybe even their Copa America hopes because
mhm.
they really. If you looked at the Ecuadorian national team, it was kind of I don't know if you knew this, but sorry, changing the subject a little bit, but Ecuador has been the worst team to ever, well, in history of the Copa America. Like in history, Ecuador is the worst team in Copa America.
Yeah, they
So
did.
they're kind of like, go ahead.
I would say that they don't really do well at all, pretty much in Copa
Uh,
America.
so I guess they're like thinking like, damn, it's gonna happen again, and that because you lose 2-1 to Venezuela, which was supposed to, for a lot of South American analysts, was supposed to be the third place team in this group, where a lot of people put Ecuador at first and Mexico in second. And you lose to a third place team, like to the third best team in the group that they're saying, um,
Oh, confidence, no doubt.
it kind of kills your confidence because now you have to go against Mexico, who Mexico and the US is practically a home team. And after losing their captain, they're probably you could see them as a motivated squad now.
Mm,
And now you have to go through Jamaica, who Jamaica puts up a good fight and it's tough. It's not an easy task at all. There's no easy game in this group anymore. I mean, after for Ecuador at least,
yeah,
after losing that, they have to go 100% full throttle in every game and try to win it because it's a such even group. This group B is going to be the most entertaining so far.
and on that note, let's just quickly touch up on all the results on other groups as well. So the opening match between Argentina and Canada, 2-0. Overall, I mean, pretty safe and consistent performance from Argentina. Nothing new that we haven't seen. Messi maybe was a little off. Maybe some people were saying that it's his age. He's getting older. He had like two really big misses in front of goal. I don't know. I mean, I think overall Argentina is just a solid squad. They have world class players from front to back. Peru Chile sleeper of a game 0-0. Not much went down there. Nothing but shared points pretty much. Ecuador Venezuela, like we just said, Venezuela looking good towards the end of the match, mainly because Ecuador had that red card
Red
and that
card,
kind
yeah.
of that just ruined the game. That ruined their flow for them. USA Bolivia 2-0. USA played pretty well in the first half. I think in the second half they could have made it 3-4, 5-0 if they really wanted to, but they they just lack a little bit of that quality at the nine position, barring Florin Balogun. I forgot how to say his name.
Following
Balogun. He did score on the day, but as soon as Pepe came on, he missed like two sitters, and that's probably would be my only negative there, saying that they probably should have won by a few more goals. And then Uruguay Panama, a game that I watched basically the whole thing. Uruguay very dominant, although in that second half they did come out a little shaky. Panama probably could have even tied the game if they wanted to, but they just lack that quality as well.
Yeah, I mean that's what Panama has. Like, they're good defensively, but offensively they don't like how would I say this? They don't like finishing. They lack creation of chances. Like, they create so little.
Mm. And
When
with the little that they did create, because I remember that first 15 minutes of the match, they had like at least two chances, solid chances, but they were just rocketed or just completely off target as well.
Yeah, it happens. I mean that's what Panama's known for. Like, they have defending first, offensive. Let's see what happens.
Mhm. I think once they get to that position, they're like, "Oh shit, what do we do now?" And then
Yeah,
just get in your own head at that point, and then you miss out on what could have been maybe the tying
yeah.
goal. In Uruguay, they're not they what they when they have chances, they're gonna put you away. Maybe not Darwin Nunez specifically, unless it's against Mexico, he will score 3 goals against them. But he had a few, he had a few open opportunities. He missed most of them, but the harder one, I think he did score. So that's kind of funny that it's just a meme that happens with this guy. But we'll
Where
see
he's like,
deeper into the
where,
tournament.
where he's like, have you seen that meme where he's like 5 yard sitter? Nah, like 15 yard banger. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much that's him right now. That's gonna be him for a while until he works on his finishing or something. But overall, whose performance has really impressed you?
I feel like the performance that has impressed me the most would be, I mean, it's match day one, so I'm gonna go with the obvious one and say Uruguay,
Mhm.
because I mean, scoring on Panama isn't easy, and Mexico knows this. They were only able to beat them 1-0, and to be able to put three passes Panama side, whose main objective is defend first.
Mhm.
I mean, it just shows you the quality that Uruguay has, because the chances that they had, they took and they scored. I mean, what was the first goal and what minute was it?
It was in the beginning of the game. It was like the
It was like in the
sixth
16th. It was like in the 16th minute. Like,
banger too. I think that's probably the goal of the tournament so far. It's between that one and maybe Christian Pulisic's goal. Those two were absolute bangers.
it's definitely the Uruguay goal.
Yeah, I just love the way he hits it like across the box, pretty much left foot into the top right hand corner. The goalie's top left hand corner. But it was just a beautiful strike. I saw that and I was just like, "Ooh, that's class." I think he plays for Toluca, right? Maximiliano Araujo. He plays for
Yeah, I
Toluca.
think he does for Toluca,
Yeah,
which shows
beautiful.
you like it's like Liga MX players in Uruguay. Oh, they're insane under Marcelo Bielsa, but Jimmy Lozano can't get it done with them. Like, it's like
It's two different stories, too. I mean, they're two different managers.
two
But
different managers.
anyways, moving on to who disappointed. Oh, well, you said I actually have to give out my part. I totally forgot about myself. I would agree with you. Honestly, I think Uruguay left the best sensation so far because I mean I could argue Argentina, but I didn't watch the game fully. Been traveling a lot, so I can't really say that they were the best. Um, but I think Uruguay, just because I watched the whole game there and I saw the way they played, they did have a shaky first or last 15 minutes of the match. No, of the second half, the first 15 minutes of the second half. It was a little rocky, but overall, I mean, they were very consistent, created chances, defensively very solid. They look very poised on the ball, not nervous whatsoever. They look like they're ready to go deep into this tournament. And then for my disappointment, I'm probably gonna have to go with hmm, Ecuador for sure.
Ecuador.
Yeah,
Me
yeah,
too. I'd probably say Ecuador. Be-
because there's a lot of expectations, like you said as well. I mean, well, actually, you said that they're one of the worst teams in the tournament. Never mind.
Nah,
But
but
going
it's
into
true.
the tournament, a lot of them did expect them to be first. Like you actually did mention that the media
Yeah.
for Ball really hyped them up to be one of the top place teams in the group, but they fell short against a Venezuela team that really shouldn't be in that position right now. But I guess we'll see what happens later on into the tournament. But I'm glad we can agree on that too. Ecuador for sure. I think disappointed overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a team that was supposed to win this group supposedly easily, like 9 points in the bag, and you go from that to losing your first game, the opening game, where in because a lot of people say that this Ecuador has a golden generation. You know how you have Jeremy, you have a lot of you still have
If Kendrick Bias,
Kendrick
Hincapié,
Paez, Hincapié, and then you still have the
Caicedo,
veteran Moises Caicedo, and then you still have the veteran, what's his name? The one that got sent off. Forgot his name. But he's Ender Valencia. You still
Valencia.
have his veteran and I mean at the end of the day he's the one that makes the mistake, yes, but this team
It's
is like
quality.
flourished with European talent, and they have a lot of people in Europe.
It's they have quality overall. I mean, in
Yeah,
every line of the pitch, they have quality. But maybe it might just be a mental thing. It could be that they just had a bad day, but it obviously sets them back moving forward into the next few games. But
it kills your confidence.
let's see what happens. We still have a few more games today. We have the Brazil, I think Brazil, Costa Rica, and then Colombia, Paraguay. So two good games to look out for. We'll definitely catch up on that tomorrow's pod. So I think we're gonna try to do one more tomorrow, and then a few more things that we might have missed in this pod. But I mean, anything else you want to add from us? I think we're pretty much wrapped up.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean there hasn't been a lot of games right now, so
Okay. So then
really
we'll
the last day
definitely see
one.
you after tomorrow's part. We'll talk about those last few games of the match, and then we'll talk about the group, how that leaves all the groups. And but yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for hopping on the pod. Thank
For
you
sure.
guys for listening. Make sure you follow, support your small creators because together we'll make it big. Follow us on all socials at CharlaFootball, CHARLA football, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, all that good stuff. Website, check it out. And yeah, thank you guys.